It's a warm Saturday morning in July. Lauren's out at the farmer's market with Theo, and Danny, he's standing on a step stool in the hallway closet, reaching really high for an extension cord when his watch band actually catches on a box, knocking it off the shelf. He looks down just in time to see the contents spill across their dark walnut hardwood floor. Old photos of Lauren when she was a kid, a set of keys to doors that don't exist anymore, ribbons, and a notebook that's really swollen and held together by this worn down or worn out rubber band. He grabs the photos one by one, just taking a moment to imagine what life was like for little Lauren. But when his hand finally lands on the notebook, he realizes, oh, this isn't a notebook, it's a diary. And sticking out the top was a firearm safety certificate. Lauren McAdams, 2001. Lauren never told him that she took that class. From what he gathered, it was just more her brothers and dad who hunted, but okay. He folds it back, tucks it back into the faded lilac diary, and he knows he shouldn't look. He should just put this back in the box. But before he could even make up his mind, his fingers are already finding Lauren's first entry. Before we go any further, this is part 2. If you missed part 1, click right here to catch up. All right, back to the diary. The writing is big and round, certainly a younger kid's handwriting, like pressing really hard enough to dent the page. And what it says is, Dad took the boys to the lake again. I had my bag packed since 5. He just patted my head, told me it was a boys' trip, and I couldn't go. That's okay. I'm gonna get so good at fishing, he can't say no. Danny's eyes just burned, thinking of little 8-year-old Lauren, up before coffee, up before the sunrise, dressed in old jeans, probably old sneakers, and has her bag all packed, hoping to be invited along. Maybe she probably even made her own sandwich, tucked that in there, and she's just waiting for her dad to come down the stairs and be surprised that she's there and say, like, get in the truck. But instead, little 8-year-old Lauren did all that, and all she got to do was watch the tail lights slowly leave the driveway in the dark. Danny flips to another section. Mom signed me up for gun safety today. I rode my bike there. I was the only kid there without a dad. The man asked me where mine was. I said, he's working. Now I'm going to know exactly what to do, and maybe I'll get to go to deer camp this year. Danny unfolds the fire safety certificate again, and he reads the date, 2001. That means Lauren was 12 when she was in this class without her dad. He just stops. He's like, gosh, 12-year-old girl. She might have been the only girl in that class, and every one of them, like all the other kids, they had their dads showing them how to hold a gun when they went to the range, like the field trip day. And Lauren, she had to wait for the instructor to check every kid to then come to her, who was standing all by herself, and the instructor had to show Lauren because her dad wasn't there. He flipped a few more pages. Dad said I couldn't come to deer camp. It would be weird with all boys and I would be the only girl. There's always a reason. Why can't I just go? Danny turns to a new section. The writing is smaller now. I told Mom she never comes to my games. She said she was there last week, but she wasn't. But she said it like it was true, and she looked at me like I was crazy. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I swear when I looked in the stands, she wasn't there. Man, what does that do to a kid when their own mom swears up and down that the facts aren't facts? He just thinks the kid must learn the most dangerous lesson of all, that she can't trust what she sees and that people who say they love her lie. Danny takes a huge breath. He knows that his mother-in-law, Pam, she did not have an easy childhood. She had 4 brothers on a farm, and Pam's own mom died shortly after giving birth to Pam. And according to Lauren, her mom, she could bait a hook, she could clean fish, gut a deer, but she was never good with emotions. Like, she never got the hang of mothering a daughter. Danny remembers Lauren telling him that her mom basically just trailed after the boys and completely avoided Lauren because she was just too much, just too emotional. His heart sinks. My gosh. Just think of 13-year-old Lauren standing, before she goes to school. She's got her soccer cleats in one hand and she's standing by the front door asking if her mom's going to be at her game, only to have her mom tell her that no, she's going to one of her brothers instead. Again. Danny turns more pages, faster now, and the girl in them is getting quieter as she gets older. But there's this one line that shows up again and again in different ways. I figured something out. If I don't ask for anything, I can't be let down. It hurts less to just wait to see if I'll be noticed than to keep fighting for them to see me. Again, Danny just closes his eyes and he watches a slideshow of his wife's childhood, how her family shrank her down into a shadowy figure who stands in doorways waiting to see if anyone will notice her and invite her in. He wipes his tears and then he flips to the last entry. The handwriting is definitely older now. 158 days until graduation. I am so done with this house, this town, this school where everyone has decided who I am. Somewhere out there has to be people who actually want me around, who will save me a seat without me having to ask, who will notice when I'm not in the room. I just have to hold on long enough so I can get to them. Please, please let there be a place where I don't have to stand in the doorway and hope to be invited in. Danny can't catch his breath. Like the dots are connecting so fast. His wife isn't a perpetual victim or jealous or, like he thought, mentally unwell. She's on guard like a smoke detector. Like she's trying to catch the pain before it completely engulfs her, trying to detect when someone's about to be done with her so she can move first because then it will hurt less. And she's just trying to protect Theo so that he doesn't have to endure the same kind of treatment. The people she prayed for in that last diary entry, the family who will save her a seat without her having to ask, it turned out to be his family, the one that's opened their arms for her right at the front door. But ever since, she's been bracing to lose them. Every interaction his mom gives his niece, counted. The size of the cake, measured. The way his dad greeted her, clocked. It's the same little girl on the bottom step of that staircase, bracing for the truck that should have included her to pull out of the driveway again. Danny sits on the floor for a really long time. Lauren's entire childhood is just spread out on his lap, and he gets it now. She's spent the last 7 years inside the warmest family she's ever dreamed of, waiting for them to hand her back. And that's when he remembered what her dad said. Like, Gary, remember Gary with the hunting dogs? Lauren's dad said, you can have her, you just can't give her back. He laughed back then, but now that just lands like a stone. So most people would stop right here. They understand their wife, feel a little bad, maybe they resent her a little bit less, but Danny's not like most people. And what he does next is the whole reason I'm telling you this story. First, he goes to his mom. He sits down with Meg at the kitchen table and he tells her what he thinks is going on and how he wants to try to help his wife carefully and slowly. Danny tells his mom he can't tell her everything, but basically Lauren came up in a house where her brothers got the spotlight and she stood in the shadows. And as close of a family as they are, like his family, he thinks that closeness is somehow landing on a bruise, like an old bruise, none of them can see. He confesses again that he doesn't fully understand it, but he wants everybody to try something a little bit different. And Meg, the nurse who would take her first break to sit with patients who didn't have family coming to visit them, who cared for her aging parents so they could die with dignity in their own home, who slept in a chair that never reclined for almost a year so her son didn't have to wake up in the middle of the night scared and he could see her face. She leans forward, cradles Danny's hands in hers and says, "Please tell me what I can do. I'll do it." Danny explains that over the last 2 years, he's been trying to convince Lauren that what she feels is wrong. Like he was trying to have Lauren look at the facts, and none of that ever worked. Instead, he unknowingly turned himself into Lauren's mom, telling her, "You can't trust what you see." So after talking to his buddy, who happens to be a therapist, he feels like he has a better understanding on how you help somebody heal with a nervous system like Lauren's, is to show it enough new proof on repeat, nice and consistently, until it finally has enough earned security. Danny tells his mom that he doesn't want Lauren to wait in a doorway or hang back on the couch with him. He believes that she wants to be invited in. So if you see her standing in the doorway or see her sitting next to me, just don't let her do that. Just try to and pull her in, and I'll do the same. So the next Sunday rolls around. Lauren comes in. She drifts towards the doorway. She has her plate of treats that she came or brought to pass around, and her thumb is just finding the ridge of the plate. So she's just kind of like self-soothing. But before she could really settle into that trim between the rooms, Meg calls from the kitchen, "Lauren, honey, can you please help with this gravy? You've got a better hand for it than I do." Lauren walks into the kitchen, stands next to Meg at the stove, and she gets a wooden spoon and she begins stirring. Danny changes too. For 2 years, he's been trying to manage Lauren, manage the family, like shorter Sunday dinners, quieter car ride homes, really trying to pull his hand back 1 inch at a time away from her. But now he is turning all the way towards her. He doesn't want her to feel like she's too much or that she's too emotional. So that night, when Lauren gets quiet on the drive home, instead of Danny sighing and gripping the wheel, just kind of showing that he's annoyed with her, no, tonight he reaches for her, takes her hand, and says, "Tell me how the night was for you." So this new Sunday way is in full motion, yet there's still one thing that Danny is carrying that could burn all of this down. He still hasn't told Lauren where this breath of fresh patience and compassion comes from. He hasn't told his wife the fact that he betrayed her and read her private thoughts. So one night after Theo goes down, Danny sits with Lauren on the couch and he tells her that he found her diary in the hallway closet and that he read it. Her face goes white. She jumps up off the couch. Danny can just see that old wall just slamming up so fast like a reflex. And for a second, Danny's like, "Oh my gosh, I can see the girl. I can see the girl who learned the safest thing is to do is just to be gone." So he doesn't defend himself. He doesn't say it fell or that he only read a little. He just lets her be angry all the way. And after that first wave of it breaks against him and there's nothing left but just her quiet breathing, then quietly, he tells her that he read about the girl who got up before sunrise, packed her own bag, made her own sandwich, sat at the bottom step waiting for a dad to come down and be glad she was there. He tells her about the taillights, about the games no one came to, about a kid who figured out it hurts less to stop asking than to keep feeling left out. And then Danny says he's been so busy defending everyone else that he turned into one more person that walked right past her in the doorway. He grabs her hand and he tells her she's stuck with him, that she's not a guest in this family, she's a permanent fixture, and that he will do his very best until she forgets what it was like to wait to be invited in. And Lauren, who froze the first time Meg hugged her, who's braced for the taillights her whole life, finally does the one thing she never allowed herself to do on that bottom step. She cries where someone can see. Not the pretty kind, the kind where this cry is 20-some years late. Her knees give out, Danny catches her on their way down, and they sit together. He never hushes her, he doesn't tell her it's gonna be okay, he doesn't reach for a single thing to fix. He just holds on while his wife's whole body just heaves with sobs. He's holding the 8-year-old. He's holding the 8-year-old on the bottom step. He's holding the 12-year-old at the gun range, and he's holding the grown woman on the living room floor. All of them at once, all of them finally having someone come back for them. They stay there for a long time, long enough for the girl who has spent her whole life making herself small and easy, lets herself be held like she's worth the trouble. They don't fix anything that night. Lauren starts seeing an attachment-based therapist, and the two of them just start doing the slow, unglamorous work of teaching a nervous system that the truck's not leaving this time. But the fix wasn't just therapy, and it wasn't about getting Danny to side with Lauren on those car ride homes after Sunday dinners. No, the fix turned out to be 100 warm, loud Sundays laid on top of one another until the girl still sitting at the bottom step knows that she can rest, because now she's genuinely got a family that wants her there, and they're not handing her back. Before you go, I want to share one private moment that Meg had with Lauren. A few weeks after Danny read her diary, it's a Sunday, Meg catches Lauren alone at the sink, same sink that she caught Danny at that Tuesday, and she reaches into a drawer and she pulls out a wooden spoon. Now, this wooden spoon has a handle that's gone dark. It's worn down from 50 years of a woman stirring with it. And Meg takes this spoon and she presses it into Lauren's palm. She tells her that it was her mom's spoon, the same spoon that she made Lauren's first homemade birthday cake with. She's been holding on to it, waiting to know who to give it to. And that's all Meg says. And Lauren, the girl who tallied up every glance, who counted the gifts, who measured effort by how big the cake was, just hunting for proof and evidence that she was loved a little less, stands there holding a dead woman's spoon, chosen out loud by the one person she was surest loved everyone more. After a few weeks, there's another birthday party. The whole family is crammed into the small living room. Lauren comes in braced, like always. She's drifting towards the doorway with her plate in hand. Her thumb is finding that rim, only this time, before she can find that little strip on the floor where she has stood her whole life, Danny crosses the room, gently takes the plate out of her hand and said, "Come on, I saved you a seat."